Hi, today we're here for the second in a series of 5 Christmas cards that I have for you. Today's card is a little bit more difficult than the last one, but I've already taught you how to do this scallop border trim, so we're going to be able to zip through it a little bit quicker. Now, you've also seen the big shot in recent videos, so I'm using the Northern Flurry Snowflake embossing folder. Can you see that on the camera?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, I'm going to add a little bit of white to the Bashful Blue cardstock just to accentuate those snowflakes a bit. So I'm using my white craft ink, and this is something you may not have seen before. This comes from our distressing toolkit, and it's just a plain rubber stamp with a wood block mount. So it's nice to have that wood block to hold on to. And what I'm doing is I'm just sort of picking up some craft ink onto my plain stamp, and then when I come to my paper, I'm just kind of giving it a little twist to drop that ink. You could also, depending on how juicy your pad is, just kind of give it a little rub. What you want to do though is make sure you stay on the raised surfaces and don't ink up the flat part of the card. So you want to be a little bit careful with this. Oops, and there's what I just did. So you know what? Don't tell anybody. They won't notice, right? So you see, even the pros make little flubs. And a little bit more over here. Okay, so we're just going to set that aside. You want to do that first because it does take your craft cardstock or your craft ink a little bit longer to dry than your classic ink. So set that aside. We'll move on to the tag. So here I'm using the stamp. It's Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So I'm going to stamp with certainly celery ink. So ink that up a few times. And again, we're using clear stamp here. So straight down on your paper, straight back up. Gives you a nice little image. I've gone and what I've done is I've stamped it a second time on an extra piece of cardstock, but this time you're going to cut it out with your paper snips, just the Christmas part, and then I put some dimensionals on the back. I've kind of done overkill here. I have 2 full size and some little tabs from, you know, sort of the extras that are in your dimensionals. And if you're cutting up your dimensionals like this, make sure you're using your craft and rubber scissors, not your paper snips, not your ribbon scissors. Only use your craft and rubber scissors when you're messing with that adhesive. So then I'm just going to put this over top. And I have to tell you, this is, out of the 5 Christmas cards I have for you, this is the only one that's not my original. This idea came from the Stampin' Up convention in July, but each of the other 4 cards are all my original ideas. So, you know, as a demonstrator, we have lots of resources available to us, and, you know, if you're not having a particularly creative day, no big deal. Just go to the website and find an idea there. So I'm going to add this onto a crumb cake larger tag that I've already trimmed the edges off just with your paper scissors. You can do that. And to add a little, we call it like a reinforcement that you would use in a notebook. So what I'm going to do is, you can see I've done this many, many times already. I'm going to take a 1/8 inch circle punch and I punch out a tiny little hole like so. So you want to do that one first for sure. And then take the 1/2 inch circle punch and just center it over top of there. So there's my little doodad. And then what I would do is take my 1/8 inch punch so that I'm going to get this exactly where I want it to be. And I want it to ride very close to where the white meets the crumb cake. So I'm going to do that one there. I'll take a little bit of adhesive. And I'm going to bring that right to the tag actually. And just kind of get a little bit of adhesive around there. And put that circle right over top of that one. How cute is that? Then we're going to use a little bit of linen thread, and what you'll do is you'll just fold it in half. So you've got your 2 loose ends here, and that's creating a loop at the end. So with your loop and working from the front of your tag, put the loop through the hole. I'm going to be, whoops, get those too close together so you can get that through there. So there you've created your loop on the other side, and then just simply pass your loose ends through the loop. Okay, and that just pull that snug. This should be dry by now, so I'm going to add a couple of things to it. The first thing I have is, I have a little piece of certainly celery cardstock. This is about 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4, because we're matching all of this up. And I'm just going to decide how much of that I want to show. And I'm just going to have about 1/8 of an inch showing there. Let's just give that a little press, finger press down. And the same thing, you've already seen this scallop border punch, so we're going to add that one on as well. See, and I'm always doing it one at a time. And the reason I'm doing this way too is because this has been trimmed down. The Bashful Blue is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then these two pieces need to make up the difference. So when I come to my card, which is also a hot dog cut again, like we did last time, but this time I'm going to have my card opening, whoops, landscape way. So it's got to come on here and make up that difference to give me that 1/8 inch edge all the way around. So 3 3/4 on your Bashful Blue by 5 1/4, and then the Certainly Celery and Crumb Cake make up the difference. So then that's just going to get glued onto your card, and you'll put a couple of dimensionals on the back of here. Oops, cut, just a minute, forgot my ribbon. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. Use glue stick, they're going to come back off. See, you're learning all the tricks today, because see, when you use glue stick, you can go back and correct your error. So here's one of my knot. I'm going to have to do a whole knot and ribbon tying demonstration, but here's how I do a knot. If I'm doing it on the side like this, I'm actually, from my point of view, I'm looking at it sideways this way. For the camera, I'm going to turn a little bit. I have left over right, and the left comes under. The right one is the tricky one. See, it's pointing off to like 10 o'clock at night. You're going to turn the ribbon a bit and bring it up to 12. And then I put my ring finger in there on my right hand, and I take the top ribbon over top of the bottom ribbon. Can you come in real close here with the camera? The top comes over the bottom, keeping your ribbons flat. The trick is to not turn your ribbons, and then just pull it through there. Okay, and then you can trim those off as needed. Okay, so since I use glue stick, I can go back and repair this. So let me just go back and add a little more adhesive to this in case it's dried off. And I'll just line up my Certainly Celery again. And that's the thing about using glue sticks too. If you did have an error like this and, you know, it was, I don't know, completely wrong, if you just let it air dry, like, it's not tacky at all now. So I can totally reuse this and give myself a second shot at it. So just layer that one up. Okay, this one's going to go on your card. Your tag is here. And then I'm just going to tie these two loose ends of the linen thread to my celery ribbon over here. And you can just do that in a simple knot, just a simple tie your shoes in a knot kind of thing. Okay, so I haven't glued the whole thing together, but you get the idea. Tie that in a knot. You can trim these ends if need be. So certainly your ribbon scissors are great for this. They just snip it off ever so nicely. Keep them just for your ribbon. Don't use them for paper. Don't use them on glue. Okay, and there, that goes in like so, and ta-da! So there is number 2 in our series of 5. 2 in a series of 5. Come on back and we'll show you the next one. Bye!